Nothing would make me happier than to spend some time with you on the water. So here's a few opportunities. We have 3 trips in May, 2 on the El Patron, May the 9th and the 23rd, and then May the 31st on the Island Spirit out of Ventura Harbor Sport Fishing, and then a reverse 2.5-day trip out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, California on board the Apollo. What a trip that's going to be. If you want information or want to reserve on any of those trips, just send me a text at 657-227-6459. Good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California. Woo, it's a little windy and cold down here this morning, but it's still an absolutely gorgeous day. I don't know how Todd does it out there. Man, he's out there in his trunks and no shirt, paddling around. That guy is something else, let me tell you. Hey, it is great to be with you, and we've got so much to talk about. The Western Outdoor News, Rockfish Rumble at Ventura Sportfishing was a huge success. Big fish, lots of them. And of course, when you combine two entities like Western Outdoor News and Ventura Sportfishing, you are sure to have a great event, and they certainly did. There's some great long-range fishing going on. We checked in with our friend Diego Nuno on board the Royal Star. We'll have an update from them. And also, we're going to continue the saga of where did our bluefin tuna go? I've got a up-to-the-minute report from the Independence this morning that I will give you, and we'll see what's going on with our bluefin tuna bite. We've got some pretty good fishing out there on board the Pursuit at Catalina Island. Mikey from SD Fish and Sips, he was on board. I got to see him yesterday. It was so nice to see my friend along with Daryl Folger, and we've got the surf fishing update and so much more. It's chilly down here. You know what time it is. It's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Wow, is it great to be with you. Yesterday, I gave a speech at the Rooster Club Foundation, a group of really wonderful people doing so much good in the community. It was great to see my friend Blue Cotton. I'll have that for you right after today's morning briefing. It'll pop up and premiere, and you'll get another side of me that perhaps you didn't know about, like meeting Mother Teresa and a priest that used a rosary to divine where water wells were in Costa Rica. That will be coming up after the morning briefing today. I hope you'll get a chance to check it out. If you don't mind, hit that like button. We really appreciate it when you do that. Share these videos with a friend. Of course, subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel, and also tick that little bell. You'll be notified when there's new content, breaking news. You'll hear it first. Last night, the Danny Cadota show was fantastic. Danny gave his expertise, his opinion with decades of experience being a captain in this game about what might be going on with the bluefin tuna. I highly recommend you go back and listen to that, and you can catch us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Man, it is really chilly and a little bit windy. And of course, we have some weather moving in on us tomorrow. We're going to have some rain on Saturday, to a lesser degree on Sunday. It's going to be a little breezy in some areas on Saturday. Also, that offshore bluefin tuna zone is going to get some wind, so we'll watch that very, very closely for you. Up in the Channel Islands, it looks like they'll get some breeze, but perfectly fishable. And Daniel Hodawi from the Island Spirit, he will be joining us this afternoon, sometime around 2 o'clock. If you want to catch that with the Channel Island update, Robert Graber, I know you like the 8:05 coverage, and we'll have a little bit more for you this afternoon at around 2 o'clock. Daniel will be joining us, and it's live, so you can ask any question your little heart desires. All right, let's jump right into it, and let's talk about what's going on down there in beautiful Ensenada, Baja California, where I am so tempted to head here at the beginning of the week, like Monday-ish. We might head down there. Mackie and I, Mackie's our new camera guy, doing a fabulous job, and he's never been to Mexico, so it would be a cool opportunity to take him to Mexico, show him the ropes. And also, we were thinking about not only covering the yellowtail bite down there, and guess what? With a camera guy, I get to fish. a little bit. I might catch a forky on Tuesday morning. Not only that, but just the logistics of going to Mexico. We're thinking about covering all of that also. So I'll have more on that. Of course, yes, Paulina. We're going to get with Paulina. We are going to do a show with Paulina. We're going to do some fishing with Paulina. We'll have more of her coming up. All right, Ensenada fishing. Let's get into it. Wow, the yellow bite there has been extraordinarily great. We've seen great fishing for so many of my friends down there in Ensenada. The Bay area of Ensenada is holding some warmer water. Outside of there, it's really cold. So all that yellowtail and calico bass and sand bass and barracuda and big bonita have sucked into the Bay of Ensenada, and it's been great fishing for Bluefin sport fishing. Victor has been putting the wood to the yellows down there. It has been outstanding fishing. In fact, he was saying the other day that his father reminded him that the yellowtail capital of the world at one time was called Ensenada, and he said now he knows why, because this current bite is so red hot. Botes Juanitos. Yes, our friend Foca runs out of there. Paulina's favorite captain, and he's been putting the wood to the fish also with some big yellows. There's some 10 to 12 pound yellows running around there, but there's a lot of that 15 to 20 plus pound category yellows biting on the fierro, the iron. They're biting really well on the iron right now, both yo-yo and surface, but a lot of surface iron yellows in Ensenada. And I mentioned calico bass, sand bass, barracuda, kind of flurries on that. Not all that consistent, and all the focuses, of course, on the yellowtail. Everybody's all over that jurel, those hard fighting jacks that are so good to eat, and the bite is on in Ensenada. Sport boats are not allowed to go inside there and fish from San Diego or anywhere else for that matter. So you're going to have to make that drive down to Ensenada and jump on one of the guys I just mentioned. Those are great guys. Ernie, also Louis Prieto at It's For Real Sport Fishing. Fantastic operation. Can't beat him. Great boat, great expertise. Fish until you want to drop. He is a hard fisherman and very, very knowledgeable. Arnie Man down there does a great job. Mara Sport Fishing does a great job. There's so many great operators down there. And that's part of the reason why Marcus and I are thinking about making that journey, so you know exactly how to do it. I'll have more on that as time goes by. So great fishing in Ensenada. All right, that takes us up to the long range situation. And I talked to my friend Diego Nuno, who has helped me in so many ways, taking so much clothing down to Mexico. We took care of the island of Cedros. We also have distributed stuff around Ensenada. We've got more stuff going down here all the time. It is so great to be working with Diego, who's a deckhand on board the Royal Star, born on the island of Cedros, lives in Ensenada. He said their biggest yellowfin tuna in its full speed, 140 pounds. He may have a bigger one because I didn't check with him about last night. Who knows? He said it's full speed on the 25 to 60 pound yellowfin tuna, all you want. And he says there's a lot of tiburones around there, lots of sharks around there, giving them a little bit of a headache right now. So really good long-range fishing. Royal Polaris has had some great fishing. Royal Star all over them with Diego Nuno. It really sounds fantastic. All right, let's get up to the bluefin tuna situation. Ooh, boy, is this starting to get a little dicey. Now, I'm not throwing the panic switch by any stretch of the imagination right now, but it's been a couple of weeks since we've seen any bluefin tuna, and that is slightly perplexing. We've sent the spotter plane up several times, hasn't seen a darn thing. And of course, we just finished up 5 days on the Independence. We had a great time, really wonderful time, but we couldn't find any bluefin or any yellowtail. Now, presently, Young's Fishing Tackle from Bellflower, California. Man, I'll tell you, Kevin does such a great job there. I can't wait to go by and shoot a video with him when he gets back in, but they're having a similar trip to the one we just experienced. In fact, John Collis is also on board there, and John was telling me they have covered so much ground. They've looked at so much water, and they have not come up with a bluefin tuna. It has been really difficult on this trip. They are presently rock fishing this morning. They're trying to get that rockfish in, I think, before this wind kicks up, and they're able to really take care of the folks on board with some of the greatest and most wonderful eating fish in the sea. And then perhaps they'll resume their search for bluefin tuna. Is my camera going to blow over again? It's getting a little windy down here. blowing in at 12, 15 knots, something like that, I would say right now. So bluefin tuna, very, very difficult. No sign of them right now. And guys are not yet pushing the panic button, but they are concerned about this because for the past, I don't know, 8 years or whatever it's been, those bluefin tuna have been in a certain zone. And a lot of that zone has been covered. I'm talking about a few hundred miles down the Baja Peninsula, up, to Ensenada, out there to the Mushroom Bank and the Butterfly Bank and, areas like the 43 Fathom side, then up there towards San Clemente Island, ultimately out there on Tanner and Cortez Bank. They've been in that region. That's been looked over fairly well. Now, there hasn't been all that much boat coverage, so, maybe we just missed them. Maybe there's a big slug of them and we just haven't driven over them or flown the plane over them. But right now we don't see any bluefin tuna, and we'll just continue to watch it and see where we go from here. It is tax season. You know who I'm going to talk about, my friend Tim Marquez, a man you can trust, a man that'll go to bat for you, a man that will unravel your tax problems. Tim Marquez at A-Best Income Tax. Give Tim a call today. And if you have heating and or air conditioning needs, it's John Lopez. John's a great friend of mine, a great family man, and he knows his stuff. Give John a call today. All right, let's jump into what's going on up here in this neck of the woods. I talked to Mark Paisano Jr., the capable and young, enthusiastic captain of the Amigo out of 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California. And he was saying we had a pretty good sign of yellows out there at San Clemente Island. They ended up with 6 yellows last weekend. They're going again this weekend. Little rain's not going to stop them from getting out there. Jason Lawler, the chef on board the Amigo, also was telling me, hey, pretty good sign over there on the yellowtail. Not big fish, but pretty good sign. Stuff boiling around, seeing it, and catching 6 fish. It's still a little bit cold on the water temperature, so in terms of getting a really good bass bite, not quite ready to happen yet, but you're picking a few calico bass there at Clemente also, and in addition to that, plenty of rockfish. So you're going to get the rockfish situation under control and get a shot at some yellows perhaps, and maybe even a bass or two, maybe some halibut also. So we'll continue to watch that for you very, very closely. At Catalina Island yesterday, the Pursuit working their tails off out of 22nd Street Landing as usual. They work so hard on that boat. They are so enthusiastic. They not only fish the rockfish, but they go in and check out the kelp line, see if there's any halibut, any yellows, any sea bass, any calico bass. They work their tails off on the Pursuit. My friend Daryl Folger was on there, and Mikey from SD Fish and Sips. He is such a great person. I loved giving Mikey a hug yesterday. It was so good to see him. If you didn't see the podcast that Mikey and I did together, it is extraordinary because of Mikey. Because of Mikey. You got to check him out. He's a great person, and I highly recommend you go over to SD Fish and Sips and subscribe today. Anyway, they told me same thing. Pursuit working their tail off. Good fishing on the rockfish. I think they had 7 halibut yesterday. Halibut are starting to make a little bit of a comeback here. I'll have more on that as we get up into the Channel Islands in our report, but we're starting to see more and more of those flatfish, so that sounds pretty good. Now, as we start to look at 1/2 and 3/4 boats from San Diego all the way up there to the Channel Islands, we're looking at rockfish, whitefish, sculpin, but really good stuff going on. You have the weather on your side, you're more than likely going to do really well, maybe even like Limits, Victory, Enterprise, Monte Carlo. I don't know why I'm mentioning boats. Dana Wharf, Oceanside, San Diego. All of those guys are doing really well on the rockfish when they have good weather. And that is going to be the key. I'm not talking about rain, okay? You get a little wet, that's no big deal. But I'm talking about wind. So the wind is what will screw you up on fishing the cod, because if the drift becomes way too fast, it's like you're trolling for a rockfish. So you're going to have to bring, I would say, 6 to 16-ounce sinkers. I think that would do you really, really well. So keep that in mind. Really great rock fishing going on up and down the coast. Now, Ventura Sportfishing, as my little doggy's up here saying hi to me. There's a nice little dog. Maybe he'll run into the frame for you. Ventura Sportfishing had the Rockfish Rumble, and it was outstanding. I can't tell you how great it was. And I heard from so many people. As I said, Daniel Hadaway will be joining us from Ventura Sportfishing very, very soon, and he will have the very, very latest on what went on during the Rumble. But I've got to tell you, there was some great big reds, including a 10+ pound red, taken on board the Island Spirit. I highly recommend you get up there this weekend and give it a try because the fish are biting and they are awfully big. Jack Sepulveda was up there for the Rockfish Rumble. Had great fishing, Jack. So good to see you having such a great time. Robert Graber, I love Robert. He was up there for the Rumble with Western Outdoor News out of Ventura Sportfishing. And on board the California, Cody Rogers, my good friend, runs the California, the old Matt Walsh, and they put the wood to him with some absolutely fantastic and fabulous fishing. I don't know how it can get any better. Great eating fish, lots of them, big fish in that deep water, and Western Outdoor News there to make sure everybody had a spectacular time. That was a really great event. I am so sorry I missed it, but I've been running around pretty busy myself. Next year, I'm going to make plans to make that. That sure sounds like fun. And here very, very soon, Cody, are you listening to me? Saul, make sure you tell Cody for me. Saul works up in the Ventura office. We're going to come up there and shoot a video on board the California. You got to do that. And I got to jump out with Tucker on the Endeavor one of these times because Tucker is starting to catch some fish again. Well, he's always catching fish, but this time some halibut. He had a dozen halibut. Beautiful fish on board his last trip on board the Endeavor. In addition to that, some really good rockfish. My camera's going to go down here. I'm going to just make sure because the other day, as you know, I had a broken microphone. I can't afford for that to happen right now, going to Mexico perhaps. So great fishing on board the Endeavor as they put the wood to them. Plenty of rockfish, 12 halibut. How can it get any better than that? John Garma, another great Friedman Adventures family member. John and I have been on some really memorable trips. He was on the Aloha Spirit. Check out those bottom grabbers for John. That is great stuff. And speaking of halibut, Gene Mitchum. Gene, good morning. Thank you for sending that great photo over on board the Coral Sea out of Santa Barbara Sea Landing. Of course, Gene with a jackpot halibut. Nice going. They had some good halibut fishing. I think they had 7. The other day up there, one of their boats had 21 fish, 24 fish, something like that. So the halibut are starting to bite a little bit more, no question about it. In the surf, you got well, let me look at this for you. So we're at low tide. I think high tide's around noon today. Depends upon this wind, but if you can get some good conditions, there's been some good halibut fishing going on as we're coming to the end of a grunion run right now. I can feel how wet the sand is way up here on the beach. So tides were high last night, and hopefully there were grunion all over the place. There's been some good halibut fishing, a little bit of corvina, but the water's a little cold for that. So we're still catching barred perch. There's a little bit of yellowfin croaker around. Throwing a chrome crocodile is a great way to get it done. And don't forget down there at Big Fish, Bait and Tackle, corner of Seal Beach and Pacific Coast Highway. They've got all your bait needs, and they also have another tournament going on, a monthly tournament where they're giving away a free custom beautiful rod for the biggest corvina in the month of April. And all you got to do is go down there, get your ruler, and when you catch that big corvina, put it in the sand, put the ruler there, inscribe the date behind it, upload the photo to the Big Fish Bait and Tackle Instagram page, and you could win that beautiful custom rod. How can you beat that? No cost at all to you. Big Fish Bait and Tackle. They've got everything you need, from trout fishing to calico bass fishing to, of course, the surf, and then, of course, big game stuff like bluefin tuna, if they ever show up again. Just kidding. They're coming. Don't worry. And don't forget, this cold, windy weather, snow-capped mountains, trending downward in water temperatures. Albacore. I got to do another albacore forecast update here very, very soon. All right, my friends, I don't know what to tell you. There it is, the morning briefing for Friday. I'm hoping you're having a lovely start to your Friday, and I'm hoping you have a really great weekend. I'll keep you in touch with the very latest. Don't forget, right after this, if you're interested in some of the other things I've done, living in China, living in Costa Rica, our efforts to send more goods and clothing and medical supplies down to Mexico, continuing, and so much more. Don't forget, check out the video that we'll drop in a little bit more, the Roosters Club Foundation of Orange County. They are truly some wonderful people. Have a great Friday, and as always, I hope to see you really, really soon.